There's a question most men will never ask a woman, even though it has the power to shift an entire conversation, sometimes a relationship, in a matter of minutes. The men who know how to ask it are the ones women remember with startling clarity. They're the ones she thinks about in the quiet moments, when she's cooking dinner, or when a song comes on and she doesn't even know why he pops into her mind. They're the ones she tells her sister about, but because he's the most handsome or the most successful, but because he made her feel something she didn't expect to feel. Today, I'm going to break down that question, explain why it works on a psychological, emotional, and biological level, and teach you how to use it in a way that feels confident, grounded, and natural. But before we go there, I want to tell you something that many men never realize. If you're still leaning on surface level conversation, how was your day? What have you been up to? And expecting emotional depth or physical chemistry to magically appear, you're unknowingly limiting your connection. And this might be one of the most important shifts you make, not only in dating, but in every meaningful relationship you build as a man. I'm Dr. Michelle Zion, and for more than a decade I've worked with men who want to do better, men who want connection without manipulation, intimacy without confusion, and relationships that feel alive rather than transactional. What I'm sharing with you today has nothing to do with tricks, tactics, or rehearsed lines. It's rooted in neuroscience, behavioral psychology, interpersonal communication research, and years of clinical experience. And I'm going to walk you through the 3 psychological triggers that make this one question so powerful. My goal is simple. By the end of this, you'll understand why curiosity creates deeper attraction than confidence, why depth pulls more desire than charm, and why women open emotionally long before they open physically. Let's begin with the first psychological truth most men never hear. Many men assume attraction is something they earn by being impressive, by highlighting accomplishments, talking about success, listing things they've achieved. Men are raised to believe that the more desirable they appear, the more a woman will be drawn to them. But this belief, while understandable, is incomplete. Yes, competence and stability matter, but when a man spends the entire interaction presenting himself, something subtle but important happens inside the female brain. She shifts into evaluation mode rather than connection mode. She listens, but she doesn't feel. She processes information. Both her emotional system stays dormant. The traction doesn't grow from data. It grows from emotional experience. An emotional experience is awakened not by how well a man can talk about himself, but by how deeply he can make a woman feel seen. This is where meaningful curiosity becomes magnetic. Because when you ask a woman questions that invite her to reflect, express, or tap into emotion, something powerful happens. She steps out of autopilot. She stops running the script she uses with coworkers, acquaintances, or people she barely knows. She enters a different part of herself, the part that remembers, imagines, reveals, and dreams. You move her from logic into emotion. And emotion is where attraction forms. Emotion is what makes conversation linger in her mind long after she walks away. Emotion is what creates that flutter in her stomach when she sees your name pop up on her phone. That shift only happens when a man knows how to invite her into depth without forcing it. Now, many men avoid deeper questions because they fear looking too eager, too emotional, or too intense. They worry a woman will think they're over-invested. But emotional depth isn't intensity, it's presence. It's a signal that you're anchored enough in yourself to explore more meaningful terrain. Men often think vulnerability means weakness, but in reality, the ability to hold emotional space is one of the strongest masculine traits a man can display. It shows confidence, maturity, and emotional competence. It shows that you value more than surface-level approval, and that instantly sets you apart from the majority of men who rely on performance and bravado to establish connection. This brings us to the second psychological trigger, emotional safety. I want to state this clearly: women do not open physically. In environments where they cannot open emotionally, this isn't a matter of personality or preference, it's biology. A woman's nervous system is wired for emotional assessment before physical intimacy. Her brain evaluates context, tone, intention, and presence long before she considers chemistry. Emotional safety doesn't mean you never disagree with her. It doesn't mean you're passive or overly accommodating. Emotional safety means she feels like she can be herself without being belittled, dismissed, or judged. It means she doesn't feel pressured to be perfect. It means she can express emotion, frustration, excitement, sadness, desire, without worrying that you'll shut down or make the moment about yourself. You create emotional safety through consistent micro-behavior. You listen without instantly offering solutions. You ask thoughtful follow-up questions rather than changing the topic. You show interest without trying to control the direction of the conversation. You hold silence without rushing to fill it. You maintain presence even when she becomes vulnerable. When a woman senses this, her nervous system begins to relax. She feels grounded, she feels accepted, and that relaxation is the foundation for attraction. Women don't become more open because a man pushes harder. They open because a man creates the emotional conditions where openness feels natural. Now let's talk about the third psychological trigger. And this one is the most misunderstood. The difference between desire and need. Need is grasping. Desire is magnetic. Need feels like, please like me, please respond, please validate me. Desire feels like I see you, I'm here, I'm choosing this moment, but I'm not controlled by it. Women are incredibly sensitive to the emotional energy of neediness. When a man approaches a conversation hoping for a reaction, hoping for approval, hoping for validation, he loses emotional leadership. His internal state becomes dependent on her reaction, and she feels it instantly. But when a man speaks, listens, and responds from a place of emotional solidity, the entire dynamic shifts. He becomes the grounding point in the conversation. He becomes the rhythm she responds to. That grounded presence allows her to relax in ways she never can with men who rely on performance or pressure. Presence is not silence. Presence is attention. Presence is steadiness. Presence is what makes a woman feel like she is with a man, not a boy hoping to be chosen. And now, let's reveal the question, the one that activates all three psychological triggers at once. It's not flashy. It's not manipulative. It's not intrusive. It is simply meaningful. What's a moment in your life that shaped who you are today? This question does something extraordinary. It gives her space to share depth without forcing vulnerability. It allows her to choose how emotionally open she wants to be. It shifts her into reflection, which activates emotion. And it shows you're not interested in superficiality, you're interested in her humanity. Women remember the men who make them feel like their inner world matters. And this question does exactly that. And here's what I want you to take with you. Attraction isn't built through perfection. It's built through presence. It's built through curiosity. It's built through emotional resonance. Women don't fall for the man who tries the hardest. They fall for the man who understands them, listens deeply, and brings a calm, confident presence into their lives. When you master these three psychological triggers, you stop chasing connection and become the man she naturally gravitates toward. If this changed how you think about attraction and connection, make sure you subscribe and tell me in the comments which question you're going to ask differently from now on. I read everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.